Good evening, Dr. Monhauer, classmates. My name is Bernard Fredericks. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about servant leadership. So to begin, servant leadership was a term coined by Robert K. Greenleaf in an essay that he wrote in 1971 entitled The Servant as Leader. And he has this quote, which is, the servant leader is a servant first. It begins with a natural idea that one wants to serve first, as opposed to wanting power, money, influence, or fame. And then this conscious choice brings one to aspire to lead. So essentially what he's saying is that it begins, servant leadership begins with the natural feeling of wanting to serve. You want to serve others. You want to devote your life to serving others as opposed to having others serve you. You take this principle, this idea of being a servant, and apply it to leadership, where your followers aren't serving you, instead actually you're serving them. In the quote by Wheeler, being a servant leader is intent on doing whatever is necessary to meet the highest priority needs of those in and affected by the institution. This idea of servant leadership is broken down into 10 principles. This is from the Greenleaf Center, founded by Robert K. Greenleaf, and this actually was adopted by Larry C. Spears. It's according to Salem Encyclopedia. So number one is listening. As a servant leader, you need to listen to your followers, and that doesn't mean just hearing. It means truly listening to them, giving them feedback, letting them know you understand, and truly taking what they have to say into consideration, and also demonstrating concern if they're having issues. Along with listening is empathy, and this is keeping an open mind. So when you're listening, having an open mind towards what you're hearing, what's being told. If a subordinate comes to you with an idea, taking that idea, that opinion into consideration, weighing it with what you know as a leader, using your wisdom, but keeping an open mind and not being too prideful to take the ideas of your subordinates and apply them towards the mission. Also, this code is focusing and understanding the perspectives of others. You want to understand how your subordinates think, how your followers think, how your team thinks, and be mindful of the concerns they might have and the issues they might have. Number 3 is healing. This is demonstrating and having a genuine concern for the physical, mental, and spiritual health of your team. You want to care about their welfare. You want to make sure that they're taken care of. You want to make sure that you're doing everything in your power to keep them safe and give them the time and the healing they need. Number 4 is self-awareness, and this is being mindful of your own actions, your own feelings, and being cognizant of whether you are truly demonstrating the philosophy you wish to demonstrate, which is servant leadership. You want to make sure that your actions are with goodwill, that you're going in the right direction, that you're treating people well. Number 5, persuasion. This essentially is the way that a servant leader leads. Instead of ordering, instead of threatening, instead of using kind of force or fear, you instead persuade. You don't force people to do what you want. You persuade them to, whether by encouraging, whether by providing an incentive, whether by just setting a good example and earning the trust of your team so that they wish to do what they genuinely care about the mission of your organization, and they genuinely will put their best effort towards it. Conceptualization. This is a leader is just keeping mind of the big picture and setting goals for your team, for your organization, making sure you're moving in a generally good direction. Foresight. This entails learning from the past and being cognizant of the present, analyzing it, and watching for trends. You can't always, of course, can't know the future, but you can sort of see where you might be headed. You can sort of see problems sometimes before they arise. You want to be mindful of those and be trying to steer your team in the right direction. Stewardship. This is holding yourself and your team accountable. This is understanding that when you fail to meet standards, when someone on your team fails to meet your standards, that responsibility is ultimately on you. It's not just on them. That's not just their failure. That's your failure as a leader. And that means that as a leader, you need to be enforcing standards. And it doesn't necessarily mean through a threatening or hostile manner, but you need to be enforcing standards. You need to be enforcing the rules. And you need to make sure, as a leader, you are following the rules to a T and setting that good example. And then commitment to the growth of people. This is caring about the professional and personal development of your team. So you want to be mentoring your teammates and helping growing them into one day taking over your position. Not only in their professional life, but also in their personal life. You want to ensure that in their personal life they're growing, and you're doing using whatever knowledge you have in order to facilitate that. And lastly, building community. This is fostering a positive work environment. This is ensuring that everyone feels safe and comfortable at work. That everybody feels free to express and be open and honest, and that also like managing conflict, ensuring that conflict becomes a positive thing, not a negative thing. That disagreements don't turn toxic, but are instead used to foster better cooperation and steer the organization in the right way. So Robert K. Greenleaf was, of course, the first to coin the term servant leadership, but he took these principles basically from leaders throughout time, and I think the best example of a servant leader, certainly according to my beliefs as a Christian, but also I think just in general, is that of Jesus Christ, who told his own disciples, "But among you will be different. Whoever wants to be a leader among you must be your servant." This is essentially servant leadership in a nutshell. This is understanding that your goal, your job as a leader, isn't to be great. You're not looking for exaltation. You're looking to serve those who are following you. You're looking to accomplish a mission in a healthy, good way, and doing whatever you need to do to help your followers accomplish that. And Young Soo Chung, 2020. This is the different ways that Jesus demonstrated servant leadership. Number one, through humility, which of course he lowered himself to be a human in order to serve man and to eventually suffer and die on the cross for us. Number two, he obeyed God. This is essentially submitting to the ultimate will. As good leaders make good followers. That was Jesus. As he was a great leader, he was also a great follower. He followed the will of his God. He also built teams. He used conflict as an opportunity to teach rather than a problem. And also he demonstrated the idea of being among, not over. So that is, he dwelt with sinners. He dwelt with those. He was never with those who we might consider lower than him, but he never considered himself above anyone, even though he truly, definitely was. He had that humility to treat everyone as an equal. Lastly, I think he demonstrated this idea of empire versus shalom, which is a sort of biblical idea of rather than, especially going back to the Old Testament, rather than the sort of stick, the empires, the pharaohs, the Babylonians, the emperors, the kings of the other nations who used the stick to enforce their rules, to beat their followers in submission, to beat their nation in submission. The Israelites were taught the way of the shepherd, shalom, which is the Jewish word for peace, which Jesus also expressed when he says, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them." So that essentially is the idea of the shepherd who uses his voice to guide his sheep, especially during the night when it's dark. The sheep know the voice of their shepherd. They follow it. That's the idea of servant leadership. Your followers hear your voice. They know you care about them. They know you're guiding them towards success. They have full trust in you because you've developed a good leader, a good relationship, and a good example as a leader. And so they trust in your voice and your vision. That does it for my presentation on servant leadership. Thank you very much. Y'all have a good day.